Foldable smartphones aren't cheap, and actually they are quite expensive for what they are, at least if you're looking for flagship specs. However, what if I told you that you could take a step back in time 1 year and get an incredible value, for now anyways, with the 2025 version of the Motorola Razr Ultra? It's cheaper than many of its candy bar style competitors, but it flips. Motorola gave me this to check out about 6 months ago, and let's go through what this phone is, what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and who it's for, plus why it's just a great deal. Now, let's get it all out there spec-wise. The Razr Ultra 2025 has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Elite chipset with 16GB of RAM and a base storage of 512GB, with this one being the upgraded 1TB version. Software side, you're looking at Android 16 that you'll be using on a 7-inch AMOLED 165Hz and 4500 nits internal screen. Meanwhile, the external screen is a 4-inch AMOLED and 165Hz display. On that external screen, you'll also find external cameras that are a combination of a 50-megapixel main camera and a 50-megapixel telephoto lens. Back on the inside is a 50-megapixel front-facing camera. You can charge the 4700 mAh battery at 65 watts wired and 30 watts wirelessly, which is all encompassed in an IP48 body. Now, let's get into what I like about this thing. The external display has impressed me so much more than I expected. Sure, it has the same screen size as the iPhone 5S that I used to have, but I was surprised at how much I actually use the thing. I found myself checking notifications, emails, and other quick tasks without ever flipping the phone open to use the massive 7-inch screen on the inside. I also appreciate that I found I used the phone less because I didn't get sucked into anything else I could do on the phone when I just wanted to check notifications. By the way, if at any point during this video you find this phone is perfect for you, I do have a paid link in the description and top comment, along with some other helpful resources. Now, we should also talk about the size of the phone. When open, it's far thinner than my iPhone 17 Pro, and closed it feels no bigger than a normal wallet in your pocket, meaning you aren't constantly feeling your phone in your pocket. Another thing I liked was the camera's versatility. Having the ability to prop the phone up by itself to take photos, or just to use the rear camera as a front-facing camera, allows you to take photos in just about any way you could need, without ever really having to use the lower quality interior camera. Another standout feature is the performance. It used to be that you had to sacrifice speed for the folding design, but this Ultra really did an amazing job at keeping up with just about anything that I threw at it, even switching back and forth between displays, cameras, apps, and more. I also appreciate the design, which feels premium with its rounded aluminum edges and Alcantara back, which not only feels nice in the hand, but has an added benefit of having a soft landing when you place the phone down on a hard surface. Finally, before we get into what I don't like, I have to talk about the price. With the 2026 version of this phone already out, the discounted price point that this phone is at the time of this video, makes this one of the best values of any flip-style phone. In an age where every upgrade has small improvements, going back one generation will only have minimal effects on most people's day-to-day, but will save you hundreds of dollars. Alright, so what are the downsides so you can see if it's a deal breaker? First up is the crease. With improvements constantly happening, you'll notice quickly that the crease is quite obvious after just a day or two of usage, whereas newer versions won't be quite as noticeable. You'll see it glaring at you when you're using the phone, and anytime you're swiping, you'll notice it with your finger. Another issue I have is the aspect ratio. These flip-style phones all struggle with this. While it may have a 7-inch screen, most of that is vertical, meaning reaching to the top left of the screen is definitely a chore and requires you shifting your hold on the phone around quite a bit to get there. I also didn't really care for the camera. Sure, it does take decent photos and is extremely flexible, but when you compare it to my iPhone 17 Pro, many photos have quite a bit more blur to them. If you take your time, you can get some good photos out of it, but for those quick snapshots, they just don't stand up. Another almost deal breaker for me is its speakers. I use the speakers on my phone constantly for things like podcasts, and the speakers on this phone are not nearly up to the competition, as they aren't very loud and are quite tinny, resulting in you not really being able to hear what people are saying. I have no doubt the foldable design and the need for hinge components cause things like speakers to be cut back on, but it's an issue for me. And finally, for those people that prefer a pure Android experience, this phone will annoy you. It has plenty of Motorola branded apps that just about no one will ever use. Now, before we get into who this phone is for, if you found this video at all helpful, don't forget to subscribe, as we have plenty of videos like this on the horizon. Now, with all that said, who is this phone for? I think it's perfect for that person looking to dip their toes into foldable phone design. It brings so many benefits, with the primary one being its sizing, which can be put just about anywhere. There aren't nearly as many trade-offs to these phones like there used to be, making this a great phone for just about anyone. The only people I would say steer clear of this phone is creators like me and heavy media consumers. You'll be disappointed by the camera quality and speakers on this phone, and will wish you went a different direction. Now, if you thought this review is at all helpful, you might also want to watch the video on the screen as well.